The story begins in a burning village where the villagers are running away as the guards are being slaughtered by 3 orc brothers. They think that they have successfully taken the village, so they start celebrating, but a man walks towards them and they wonder who he is. He pulls out his sword. Introducing himself as an adventurer named Asahi, they look down on him, calling him a pipsqueak, but Asahi claims that it would be in their best interest not to attack him. One of them charges at him, and it looks like Asahi doesn't know how to defend himself. However, the orc suddenly gets impaled by a rock spike that comes out of the ground. An adventurer named Maya appears jumping around and using a skill that unleashes lightning, causing one of the orcs to explode. The remaining orc tries to run away, but Maya jumps in front of him, causing him to be terrified. In a flashback, we learned that Asahi was involved in a car accident while trying to save a girl. He claims that his body moves on its own, but he realizes that he is now looking at the scene where he seems to have died. Asahi is happy to see that the girl survived, thinking that he just got a happy ending, but he wants to play more video games. So he hopes that they have video games in the afterlife. Asahi wonders how the people around him will react, especially his big sister Maya. At that moment, light appears in front of him. Pulling him in, Asahi falls from the sky, and he finds himself in a mysterious place with a castle and a dragon. As he walks around the village, he realizes that he was sent to a world that is like an RPG game. He bumps into a man who tells him to be more careful, and he learns that the people in that area also speak Japanese. Asahi sees the shops in the village, and they are familiar to him because he's seen them in video games before, and he's excited, thinking that he's been reincarnated into a video game. Asahi takes a picture with his phone, wanting to upload it, but he realizes that the place has no signal. He thinks that he will succeed in the world because he has plenty of experience with RPG games. Asahi goes to a pawn shop trying to sell his phone, but the old lady doesn't even know what it is. He ends up selling it to her and buying some light armor and a sword, wanting to prioritize agility with his gear. Prepared, Asahi goes to the Adventurers Guild, thinking that it is the next step. The clerk asks him what quest he wants, but Asahi admits it's his first time, so the clerk gives him an adventure registration form. Asahi completes the form, and the clerk recommends a super easy quest that involves hunting some killer rabbits, and he accepts it. He goes outside, thinking that his new life has just begun, but after leaving the town, he suddenly encounters a huge dragon. It starts flying, breathing fire. As it chases him around, he dodges the dragon's attacks, thinking the game is too difficult, and he manages to hide from the dragon. While hiding, he checks status, wondering if he was reincarnated with an overpowered skill. But it seems his only skill is to throw stones, and his base stats are completely terrible. He gets blown away, and he thinks about fighting the dragon, throwing a stone at its direction. But the stone doesn't even reach the dragonflies towards him, causing him to fall to the ground. But at that moment, Asahi thinks about his big sister, and he calls out her name, triggering a skill that causes May to appear in the world. The dragon attacks Maya, causing an explosion, but Maya manages to dodge the attack as she realizes that she has the power to protect Asahi. The dragon charges at Maya, but she blows it away with a single punch. Asahi is surprised to see his sister, thinking she must be an illusion. But Maya suddenly hugs him, telling him that she misses him. She carefully examines him and concludes that he really is her little brother. Seeing her obsessive nature, Asahi is also convinced she is his sister. He wonders how Maya ended up in the world, and she reveals that Asahi is currently in a coma. But during his sleep, he keeps on talking about living in another world, so she immediately knew that his spirit was in another world. She had repeatedly bashed her head against the wall, trying to enter the same world, and she somehow ended up there. Asahi is relieved to hear that he is still alive, and he wonders why Maya is so overpowered in this world. Maya is so overpowered in this world. Maya believes that it's because her love for him is so strong, but Asahi doesn't think it's a good explanation. Maya says that it doesn't matter, telling him to go with her. Asahi thinks that his life in this world is overthinking she will take him back to the real world. But Maya has no idea how to get back, surprising him that she followed him into another world without a plan. Maya says that she just wanted to make sure he was safe and everything else was secondary. Maya is excited to start a new life with him, and she starts laughing like a maniac, and Asahi realizes that the story is about how overpowered his big sister is back in the present. Maya unleashes a powerful blast from her hand that vaporizes the last orc. Asahi calls her merciless, but Maya claims that the orc brothers didn't deserve mercy. He looks around, realizing that Maya has a point, thinking that it must be because the orc brothers killed so many villagers, but May reveals it's because they looked down on her little brother, so they didn't deserve mercy. She looks at Asahi's face and realizes he has a scrape on his cheek, so she becomes upset, thinking that she doesn't deserve to be his big sister. Maya offers him an elixir, but the Sahi thinks that they should save it for the final boss. He claims that abyss spit should be enough to heal the scrape, so Maya offers to lick his body. Asahi becomes scared, saying that she misinterpreted him, but she lunges toward him, telling him not to be embarrassed. The villagers watch the siblings, wondering if they are now safe. A child tells them that Asahi killed the orcs, so they praise him, calling him a mighty hero, as I thinks Maya deserved. All the credit, but she is happy to see the villagers cheering for him. They return to the Adventurers Guild, where the clerk congratulates Asahi for ranking up to the ogre class. We learn that he jumped up multiple ranks after defeating the orcs, and she gives Asahi his overclass badge, saying that it's like an identity document, so he shouldn't give it to anyone else, adding that falsifying one's rank is a crime, so he shouldn't pretend to be stronger than he actually is, because the crime is punishable by death, and Asahi gets worried because he only ranked up because he took credit for his sister's work. So he begs Maya to pretend to be weak and make it seem like he is the strong one. Maya agrees while Asahi asks about her stats, but she grabs his hand to show him her measurements. Asahi becomes flustered, explaining that he wasn't referring to her body measurements, telling her how to open her stat window, but Asahi can't see anything, wondering what's wrong, but he realizes that her stats are so high that the values have stretched off the screen. He falls to his knees, wondering why Maya is so strong while he is so weak. Asahi tells Maya not to show it to anyone, and that her stats will be kept as their secret. Maya likes this idea, wanting to know his stats, like the number of beauty marks on his body, but at that moment they hear a commotion, and they see the strongest party of adventurers walking through the crowd. Asahi sees the lady from the pawn shop, and she explains that they just had a send-off parade for them because they are on a quest to defeat the Demon King. Asahi thinks that the Demon King must be the final boss, which they must defeat in order to return to the real world. Maya wants to defeat the Demon King, but the lady claims that she will need more experience, and we learn that Siegfried, the leader of the party, is currently in the dragon class. They hear a drunk man named Delvin saying that there is nothing special about Siegfried. As he kicks a stool, the shopkeeper tries to calm him down, but he grabs his axe and destroys a table. The other people know this him, and they know that it will be difficult to stop him since Delvin is an ogre-class adventurer. But the old lady tells everyone that Asahi is also in the older class, so the crowd turns to him thinking that he can stop Delvin. Asahi becomes nervous, thinking he's about to be exposed as a fraud. Delton calls Asahi a pep squeak, triggering Maya, but Asahi stops her, saying that she could end up killing him. Asahi comes up with a plan, whispering it to Maya. She doesn't want to follow it, but he tells her he will do anything she wants, and she instantly agrees. Asahi walks toward Delvin, trying to act cool as Delvin charges at him, but he swings his arm and the floor shatters in front of him. Delvin freaks out seeing this, and he runs away, fearing for his life. The villagers are impressed by Asahi, but it was actually Maya who broke the floor as they walk away. Asahi thinks that the plan worked well, but Maya reminds him about their deal, and she lunges at him. Elsewhere, we see a mysterious girl taking out multiple dragons, but she is bored since they were no challenge for her, and it seems that she detected Maya's overwhelming aura and has been looking for her, accidentally takes credit for his sister's accomplishments, and instantly gets promoted to the overclass rank. But we meet a demon named Kia Maria, who seems to have taken notice of them. She fights against a party of famous adventurers, and they wonder how she is so strong. The knight charges at her, but she blasts him with her flames, and the man falls to the ground. But she is disappointed because they all just lost after one attack, and she wishes to find a worthy opponent. We see Asahi training against the slime, and we see he is really still a novice, barely managing to defeat the slime and earning 1 XP, but his sister, on the other hand, Yu, is her fire magic to wipe out the entire field of slimes, earning 100,000 XP, but she is proud of Asahi for his accomplishment and rewards him with a hug as they head to town. Maya gets a cold, and Asahi says it must be because of her outfit, giving her his vest, but she suggests it would be even better if he shared his body warmth back in town. Asahi thinks he shouldn't always rely on his sister, so he decides to look for a quest he can do himself. Maya wakes up, glad to be with Akai in this new world. She can't wait to spend more time with him, but she suddenly notices that his presence is gone. She goes to check his room and finds a note. Saying he has gone out, she checks his bed and finds that it's still warm. So I saw he should still be nearby. But she jumps onto his bed and gets distracted by his scent. Meanwhile, at the guild, Asahi asks for a quest, but since he is at the overclass rank, the clerk suggests a troll hunting mission. Or stealing a wyvern's egg, but Asahi is shocked by their difficulty rankings, knowing he has no chance to complete them on his own. He tries to ask for an easier quest that's close to town, but the clerk thinks the low-level missions would be too easy for him. Asahi says he wants to remember how it felt as a new adventurer, suggesting he wants to stay close to the town in case he needs to rush back to protect it. The clerk buys his story and offers him an easy mushroom. Gathering quest, which only has a difficulty rating of 2, and he is glad he finally has a quest he can do on his own. The clerk thinks it would be no challenge for him, but he says all quests are important, no matter how small they might seem. He heads into the forest and starts picking the rainbow. Mushrooms, he finds a spot where there are planning to collect, but he wonders why there is no one else around. But he suddenly finds a sign warning that there are bears in the area. He gets worried, but thinks that it's probably a rare encounter, but he hears a gnawing, and as he turns around, he finds a bear, and it starts to chase him as he runs. He thinks he will have to deal with it by himself since his sister isn't around. He uses his throwing skill, throwing one of the mushrooms into the bear's mouth, but it turns out to have no effect. Asahi is suddenly saved by a blast of fire. He gets blown away, but lands in a familiar place. He recognizes the feeling, so he thanks his big sister for saving him once again, but it turns out to be Kill Maria, who is surprised to be called his big sister. Azai jumps away, but it seems Kia Maria didn't mind being called his big sister, and she takes a liking to him. Asahi says he made a mistake, but thanks her for saving him. However, they are surrounded by even more bears. But Kiel Maria tells him not to worry, saying they are weaklings, as she throws him up into the air. Using her flames, she blows them bears away and easily defeats them all she catches. Asahi claims that she came to test her strength on the bears, thanking him for being her bait. The ground starts to shake, and the field boss appears wanting revenge for its fallen allies, and Asahi wonders how he got into such a mess when he just wanted to gather some mushrooms. The bear starts charging up an attack, and he thinks he is going to die, but Kill Maria pulls him over. As the bear launches his energy blast, there is a huge explosion, but it's not enough to break through Kill Maria's barrier. Asahi wonders why she saved him again, but she says that's what a big sister would do. She prepares to retaliate, summoning an enormous flame and attacking with her Crimson Flame skill. There is an enormous explosion, and when the smoke clears, the bear has been turned to ashes. Kill Maria comments on how boring it was, since the bear couldn't even survive one attack. Asahi wonders if she could be even stronger than his sister, and he asks her who she is. Kia Maria reveals she is actually one of the 6 demon generals in the Demon King's army, which causes Akai to panic. However, she says she has no interest in weakening, so he doesn't have to worry about getting attacked. Asahi is relieved to hear this, but Kill Maria says she is looking for an adventurer, and it turns out she is looking for him because he ranked up in the guild so quickly. She heard that he defeated the Orc brothers and even killed a dragon with a single punch, so she wants to fight him to the death. Asahi realizes he is in trouble, so he tries to sneak away, but he accidentally drops his overclass token, which has his name on it, and Kill Maria realizes he is the one she has been looking for, and she apologizes for calling him weak. But back at the end, Maya realizes something is happening to Asahi. Asahi runs away as Kia Maria flies after him, saying they should fight. She is about to catch him, but a pillar suddenly bursts out of the ground. Asahi is blown away, but is caught by his sister. He is glad to see her, and Kill Maria wonders who she is. Maya explains she felt something was wrong and thinks Kim Maria was trying to seduce Asahi, pointing out her revealing outfit. Although she can relate to the feeling of wanting to jump onto Asahi, Kia Maria gets annoyed. Maya is interrupting her fight with Azai, so she charges at her. Maya blocks the attack, and they are both surprised to see the others still standing. Asahi wonders who is stronger, and Kia Maria realizes that all the Sahai's feats actually belong to Maya. She gets excited to have a real fight, and the two proceed to exchange blows, causing destruction throughout the forest Kia. Maria lands an attack, but Maya returns with her own blow-smashing Kia Maria to the ground. Kia Maria to the ground. Kia Maria to the ground. Kia Maria is surprised that such a human even existed. She prepares to go all out. Gathering an enormous ball of flame, Asahi worries for his sister as Kia Maria launches her attack, but Maya counters it with her cyclone skill, and Kia Maria also gets blown away. She wonders how she lost and tells Maya. She tells Maya she should finish her off. Maya prepares to end her, but the Sahi gets in the way. Maya thinks he wants to get the final blow to get the X, but the Sahi thinks they should spare her because she isn't a bad person, and she even saved his life twice. Kia Maria thinks he is taking pity on her. But he says that sometimes it's okay for little bro to take care of his sister, so they let her go and they head back to town. Asai offers to cook to thank his sister, and he is impressed that she was able to defeat a demon general by herself. However, she suddenly pretends to be exhausted from her fight, saying she is out of mana and asking him to carry her back to town. But the story continues like any other day for Asahi, who's getting chased by a monster through the woods. And this time it's a goblin. He jumps off a cliff into a clearing. He's followed by the creature. But he uses his rock-throwing skill to land a direct hit on his pursuer. His celebrations are short-lived when it is revealed that it only did 2 points of damage to the goblin, which manifests as a single lump on its head. After an awkward stare down, he turns to run again, but the goblin orders his subordinates who were in the bushes to attack. They exist. Maya emerges as usual and lands the bushes to attack. They exist. Maya emerges as usual and lands a devastating fire attack that wipes out the monsters. Although he's relieved that she came to help, he's a little disappointed in himself that she had to step in again. She points out that his one-on-one fight turned into a group attack, so she had to even the odds. She showers him with love. While she cleans the dirt that covers him, they head back to the city where Asahi checks his stats. He has finally reached level 10, and Maya is equally as excited for him. He acknowledges that he's still a beginner, but it is a milestone that shows that he's making progress. Maya concludes that very little of the XP from the many monsters that she beat went to him, despite her giving him the chance to land the final blow. He speculates that the XP gains is based on the amount of damage he inflicts. Maya watches on as he comes up with more theories, mumbling to himself. He finally boils it down to having to work hard to improve his skills so that he can fight on his own. Maya has an idea of an effective way he can achieve this. She suggests that she will capture a monster and pin it down, allowing her younger brother to attack it till he defeats it. Asahi is against that idea because he can't continually hack at an enemy that can't defend itself. Maya suggests that he attacks her to increase his XP since she is high level, but he can't in his right mind attack his sister. This makes her happy that her little brother cares about her so much. She points out there isn't any need for him to get stronger since she ends all her battles in one strike. This comment hit Asahi like an arrow. She bluntly tells him that it wouldn't end well if he's faced with real danger. Because he's so weak, he decides to forego specialized training for when he levels up a bit more. He also expresses his desire to learn a new skill as his sister smothers him with affection again. He uses his newly acquired escape skill to slip away. He reveals that as long as he has it, he can escape from his sister's annoying overbearingness. To counter, she increases her power and jumps for him, and he tries to activate his skill again. But he's out of mana, so she captures him and begins to disturb him. He finally manages to break free from her and makes his way to the guild hall with his weakness problems still in mind. He contemplates forming a party with some other people, and he makes his way to the recruitment board. But they all have high barriers to entry. Most of them are also looking for personnel so that they can carry out some shady job. Because he has been moving with his sister, he had forgotten about this aspect, as joining a party is one of the joys of being in a reincarnation story. He fantasizes about how party members come together to defeat boss-level enemies, the sense of adventure, exploring different places while eating, sleeping side by side, making memories, and maybe romance between some of the party members to bring a happy ending to their journey. He's brought back to his current reality when Nanya, the receptionist, asks if he's looking for party members. She tells him that the people available around this time of year are the rejects. He informs her that he's been working with his older sister so far. When she asks, Tanya assumes that Maya plays the support role in the party. But Asahi knows what the real arrangement is. The guild receptionist advises that the famous parties are well balanced and uses the bombing parties, led by Siegfried as an example. They have Gordon the tank, with impregnable defense Mimosa sorceress, that excels in all forms of magic Julian and archer who specializes in long-range attacks, and finally Siegfried engages in close-quarter combat. This is an ideal party composition. Asahi agrees with that breakdown and wonders what Siegfried is up to these days. The last time he heard about them, they headed out to defeat the Demon King in a hushed tone. Tanya reveals that while on their journey, they were wiped out by a mysterious enemy, so they fled and came back. She can only wonder what kind of fearsome enemy could be capable of taking out the top-ranked party. The receptionist warns him to be careful, since he too has built up the epithet Hope of Hope with his false achievements based on the information he's received. Asahi decides to consider those things before joining a party. As he leaves the guild hall, he spots a trio picking on an inebriated guy who barged into them. They demand compensation so that they can fix their injuries when they realize that he doesn't have money. The trio take it upon themselves to make him pay with his life. Asahi interrupts by using his rock-throwing skill, but he didn't think of the consequences as the trio now dashed toward him. But he has his escape skill, which he plans to use, but before they get to him, the inebriated guy knocks them out in spectacular fashion. He pukes after performing the sudden movement. Asahi rushes over to make sure that the guy is all right. Upon closer inspection, he recognizes the disheveled man as the famous Siegfried. Asahi pulls him to the side and offers him water. He's curious to know why Siegfried, a dragon-class adventurer, is in such a state. Siegfried feels like he's undeserving of his dragon hunter title, and now calls himself the loyal dog. Pochi, his failed attempt at defeating the Demon King, is what has put him in his current state. Siegfried even permits him to laugh because they were defeated by a single demon. No matter what attacks they used, they got batted away like a baby's fist. The frightening thing was that the demon hadn't even begun to fight seriously. Asahi comments that he never knew such a fearsome foe existed. Little does he know that it was Kill Maria that did this damage. The hero has lost all confidence in himself, and all he can do is wallow in self-pity. Asahi tries to console him by pointing out some of the irreplaceable things he has gained, like his friends and all the memories. He even reveals that Tanya was just telling him how Balmung is the ideal party. Siegfried immediately shuts the narrative down, revealing the reality of the situation. Mimosa is a party animal who spends all of the clan's money on having a good time. Shulon is over 150 years old and acts like it, as she always talks down to him while giving him lectures. As for Gordon, he's too shy to even hold a conversation. The hero just realized that he has never seen the guy's face. The point that he's trying to make is that he shouldn't idealize being at a party since they failed to defeat the Demon King. Balmung disbanded. He is relieved because he can do his own thing. Asahi tries to save his dreams by asking if the party at least relied on each other while on their adventure. Siegfried stops his painful laughter and lets out a genuine smile as he confirms that they did on that note. Asahi tells him of his departure. As Siegfried thanks him for the help, Asahi heads back to the guild hall to sign up for one of the parties when Tanya rushes over to him with an emergency quest. A horde of wyverns is attacking a settlement outside of town. He's the only high-rank adventurer around and has experience with defeating them. He agrees to take the job, but he is rushed to the site before he can call Maya to help him. He is forced to face the danger alone and begins to scream, frozen in fear, as the monster swoops down to attack him. He is saved when a sudden wide-area attack incinerates the wyverns, accompanied by a laugh from Kill Maria, the demon general tease Asahi for being surrounded by calamity. As usual, he addresses her by her first name, which she's not a fan of, and prefers he calls her Big Sister. Asahi informs her that when he called her that it was a one-time mistake, and he thanks her for saving him again. He assumes that she was testing her strength on the wyverns, but that is not the case, as she came to return his overclass adventurer badge. He remembers that he dropped it during their first meeting, and their interaction is stopped by another horde of wyverns that appear out of nowhere as Kill Maria prepares to deal with him. Maya comes out of nowhere and finishes them with a lightning attack. They are both happy to see her, and for different reasons, Kill Maria immediately requests a rematch. But Maya doesn't even acknowledge her as she walks past the Big Sister, makes her way to Asahi to make sure that he's okay. Kill Maria recovers from the emotional damage as the siblings discuss with her younger brother. Fine Maya grabs him, by the neck, suggesting that they head right home, kill Maria. Shouts for them to hold it. Maya finally acknowledges her, and it leads to them fighting about how inappropriately dressed they both are. Kill. Maria challenges her again. But Maya doesn't see the point, so the demon gives her a reason by taking Asahi hostage. But there is no real malice behind it. This is further proven when Maya attacks her with a comical knock to the head, which leaves her with a big lump. The two start to have a cat fight, which is... Asahi watches confused, but in a commotion, while Wyvern swoops in and apprehends him. The two immediately dash up, and Maya takes it down with a powerful lightning attack. This forces the monster to drop him. As he free falls, screaming, Kill Maria is there to grab him, and they land back down softly. Maya reveals that she only attacked without hesitation because she knew that Kill Maria was around to grab her brother. The demon is surprised that a human would trust her like that. As they interact, Asahi comments on how, like both of them, are the siblings tried to leave again, and the general tries to kidnap him, but he uses his escape skill to get away from her. Kill Maria is shocked that he has a teleportation skill and wonders where he learned it from. She starts to feel like she didn't need to save him earlier. Asahi quickly corrects her and explains that he can only use it when he is focused, and he can only use it when he is focused, and he can only use it once because of his low mana, he assured her that he didn't need saving earlier, and thanks her again. The siblings' interactions causes Kill Maria some amusement, and as she comments on how fascinating they are, she also feels like Asahi is more than just weak. The demon decides to call it a day and leaves while the siblings head home. That brings the episode to an end.